Welcome everyone. In this session, we'll learn how to set up the VBE editor on Excel. To access the VBE editor, you would first have to enable the Developers tab. The Developers tab is not visible on the ribbon, so you would have to enable the Developers tab. First, go to File, then go to Options, and then we're going to go to Customize Ribbon, and then check the Developer. So you're going to hit OK, and this would enable the Developers tab on the ribbon. Now, if you go and click into the Developers tab, you'll be able to see all the associated commands for the Developers tab. We'll cover all or most of them in the future, okay? But for now, shift your focus on this command here, Visual Basic, okay? So there's a shortcut key, Alt F11. I'll just click into it and it brings us into the VBA environment. Now, if you're not seeing the layout as what I'm seeing right here, don't worry. The first thing you do, and I'm going to show you this so that in the future, if you were to accidentally get your VBA layout panels out of order in the midst of your coding commotions and debugging, here is what you should do to get it back exactly how you want. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Tools, Option. Under Docking, I'm going to uncheck everything here. Okay, I'm going to uncheck everything, and then I'm just going to launch it and close everything. Close everything, and all you should be able to see is this grayed out background, meaning that there are no panels on the VBE editor. Okay, so how do you get them back in place? The first thing is you go to View, and I'm going to start with you can start with whatever you want, but I generally start with the Properties window, and then the Properties panel is on display. I right click Dockable. And then if it's not docked on the left, I'm just going to click. And then you see the highlight. You see the highlight. As soon as you click Dockable, you'll see that you can see this highlight right there, and I release it. I release it, and it's docked. The next thing, I'm going to go to the Project Explorer. Same thing. Right click Dockable. You see, by default, it's docked to they're docked horizontally. I don't want that. I don't want it that way. I want it to be docked vertically. So for that, what I want to do is I'm going to take this, pull it out from where it was originally docked. I'm going to get it back on place by pushing it to the top, and you see the sign there. Okay, you see the sign there, release it. Okay, so these two are docked. The next thing is you want to have the immediate windows, right? So I think almost every VBA programmers always want to have the immediate window where they display. So you're going to bring the immediate window. So you have the immediate window, display, right click, dockable, same thing. Okay, same thing. So it's docked. So if you don't want this, you want it to be just docked this side, right? So just gonna release it. Okay, I'm gonna bring it here. Then I'm just gonna release it. Okay, right? So it's docked on the bottom, but it's not overlapping the properties. Okay, so you want it to be that way. That should be the ideal way, but that's entirely up to you. Next thing, you can have your code. Okay, so you don't dock your code, you just enlarge it and it fills up the space. So this is what most users tend to go with, right? This is like the default quote-unquote configuration. But for me personally, I like to have the watch window and the locals window by my side when I'm doing the when I'm doing projects. Okay, that's just how I prefer it because I find them to be very helpful, and we'll see exactly what I mean, right, in future sessions when we go into locals and watch window. But for now, let's just get them activated. So bring up the locals window, right click, dockable, and it's docked to the right by default. So if it's not docked to the right, just push it there, right? It's pushed. Okay, so it's pushed. You do the same thing for the watch. Okay, you do the same thing for the watch. And all you have to do, right click, dockable. Okay, they're docked side by side. I don't like them. I want them docked one top over the other. Okay, so now these two are also docked. Okay, so they are vertically docked. Okay, so now they can move, right? So it's all locked in. Okay, so now I can just go to the code and then enlarge it. You don't dock the code. Now when you just enlarge it, it fills up the space. Okay, so now we're just going to go and explore a little bit about what each panel does. Okay, so the project panel basically holds all the objects in your project. Okay, so you can it's also a place where you insert your module. So module is like containers that hold your codes, right? Your procedures. Okay, you can have multiple modules in a project. okay, depending on how many modules you want, right? And then all your sheets, right? What I meant by sheets is all basically your sheets and your workbook will all be displayed on the project panel. So I have one sheet here, that's why it's displaying one sheet, but I add a second sheet is displayed, okay? So you have the code name of the sheet and the tab name of the sheet, okay? So it just so happens that the tab name and code name here are same. So if I would change sheet 1 name to something VBA, now I go back to the Visual Basic application, I can see the tab name is VBA, the code name is sheet 1, right? So we will understand that we will learn how to use the sheet code name and tab name and what's the differences in the future. Okay, so it's also a place for you to, the sheet is also a place for you to write worksheet events. Okay, the workbook is also a place for you to write workbook events. The module is a place for you to write macros procedures, also a place for you to establish your functions. Okay, you can write your function codes here, write your procedure codes here. All right, then you can also have user form. Okay, so if you have a user form, you also see it on display. And then you have all the associated properties of the user form. Then you have all the controls that you can put inside the user form. We'll go into all of that in detail in the future. All right. So that's about it for the project. And then for properties, basically whenever you click any of the object, right, you'll be able to view all the associated properties. Okay. So for module, you don't have much. Okay, you can only name the module. But for the sheet, you can see all the associated properties. You have the name, you have the code name, you have the visibility, where you can set the visibility and all of that, right? Workbook likewise. Okay. So that's why it's fittingly named properties, right? Meaning the properties of whatever that is in your project. Okay. So then you have the immediate window. This is a place where you can return results of your codes, right? Whatever that you've executed in the codes, right? Debug.print and everything can be displayed here. Okay. So it's a very, very, very powerful feature of VBA that you should always have next to you, right? The watch on VBA is similar to the watch in Excel. For those of you who have been using the watch in Excel, right? You have the watch in Excel where you can insert a watch and then, is it in formula? Yeah, it's in formula. And then you can insert a watch and keep track of your of a cell address. So in this case, it's not a cell address. You're keeping track of variables. So you're just going to click on it, right click, and insert it into the watch. Okay, we will explore all of this in the future. Then you have the locals window. The locals window is your best friend when it comes to arrays. Okay, it really helps you to decipher arrays. Okay, one-dimensional, two-dimensional, right? This is something that you always want to have next to you when it comes to arrays. Okay, so other than that, this one is just where you do this debug. Right, these are just your associated functions where you have to comment, uncomment, right? You can just go this and go to view, debug, and you can have all these different what you call commands, right? That you can bring on board. And so when you click debug, you have the display, and then you can just dock it to the top and say, okay, but we're not focused on that right now. Okay, so just make sure you know how to get your VBE editor running, and in the future, if you do accidentally get it out of order, make sure you follow the tool. Right? Close everything. First, go to tools, and then go to options, undock everything. Then after that, you close everything. Make sure you see the gray. Then you go to view, bring one, and then right click dockable. Then right click the second one dockable, and then so forth until you get them back in order. Okay, so that's about it for this session. In the next section, we'll go into macros, etc. Okay, I'll see you then. Take care.